Hey besties, welcome back. I'm Sabrina, if you're new here, which you probably are because this is kind of a new channel. But today, I really need to talk to you about this. And so, for my next physical book, I'm so excited to be finishing up the trilogy here. V.E. Schwab. Listen, girl, you're a beast. This is crazy. Yeah, this is the third book in the Shades of Magic trilogy. There is a fourth book that's not exactly part of like the trilogy, but it's the same, has like carryover characters or whatever. That one's called Fragile Threads. So I do have that one as well that I can read after this, but I just really want to finish this trilogy because I'm so hooked in. I'm very excited to start this, and it's probably going to take me a while. I mean, she does have some short-ish chapters. With this one, I like to read in sections. So every time we get to a page that looks like this is when I stop. So it looks like there's quite a few sections here. But anyway, yes. It is 11 p.m. and I recently, like as in 2 hours ago, finished The Lost Apothecary on my Kindle. And I'm wide awake, so I figured now's a good time to start A Conjuring of Light, because this one's gonna be a long read. It is January 25th, about to be 26th. Oh, it's 11:30, about to be January 26th, and I'm gonna hope to finish this by the end of January, but we'll see. Yeah, so let's get reading. By the way, I don't care anything about a creased spine. Let's do it, besties. Besties, I am chugging my way through. You can see I'm just about halfway through. I think Goodreads said I was like 44% through. So I am chugging through A Conjuring of Light. I love this world. Listen, Kel, so misunderstood. He's dear to me. Now this is not like, don't get it twisted. This is not like Cassian, right? Like, cause Cassian is bae and I will leave my husband for Cassian. It's not like that with Kel, but like Kel is like, to me, he's like my best friend's little brother. Like, I love him to pieces and I just think he's so misunderstood, and I just want, you know, I want all these things for him. And like, I don't know if anybody else related to Kel in that sort of manner. But yeah, that's like, I am loving this world, and I am a little bit sad that it's kind of ending. I know that there's the continuation of the world, but it's not exactly like the same story in what's the book that comes after? I'll put it right here. I don't know. Can't remember. The book that comes after it, which I do own. So I still get to like stay in the world, but like, I hope that Kel is still somehow there so I can check in on him. Like, I feel like I know these people by the time I got to the end of Throne of Glass, like I felt like these were all my friends, and like I was like genuinely grieving missing them. Like, oh, I'm gonna miss you guys. Like, I'm not gonna see you guys anymore. Like, is that ridiculous? Like, I can't be the only one, right? I don't know. So I'm starting to feel that way about these guys, and especially about Kel. Delilah, I mean, I don't know. Oh, like, I could live without her, but it's fine. We need to talk about V.E. Schwab, you guys. Victoria, are you listening to me, sweetie? A Conjuring of Light. I'm almost there, right? You can see I'm just about done. There's almost nothing left. I'm going to need to get you to unbreak my heart. Like, find Toni Braxton, get her on the main line, because are you serious right now? Are you serious? I'm going to do a full review of this book, but like the way that I need to have my genuine reaction right now, here's your spoiler. Go ahead and stop if you haven't read this book. We just had murder on the high seas. Linos is gone. The other guy's gone. I think it's Hastra. Hastra's gone. And we flash back over to the palace, and Maxim almost died. But in the process, you know who did die? Amira. Blade straight through the heart, straight through her son into her. And then as if that's not enough, then while the prince is mourning the death of his mother, that he tried to stop, that he was there to stop, that he was fast enough to stop, while he's mourning her life, his daddy walks out of the palace, has the guards detain him and hold him, and will not stop, no matter how much he begs him not to go. He has to watch his father march out to his death just days after, maybe even hours after, his mother died by a blade that went straight through him and into her. Vicky, talk to me. Are you serious? How? You see that I got out of my bed. I was reading in bed. You see, I got out of my bed to pick up the camera and come ask you this question. Are you serious? I thought we were having a good time. I thought we had a little magical showdown. We were going to have a little fight, and then all was going to be well. I didn't know everybody was going to die. I'm unwell. And listen, the next chapter is called A King's Place. If the prince ascends to the throne, and after that, he dies too, we're going to have some problems. We're going to have some problems. And while we're at it, I need to get back to Ned Tuttle, because what is he doing in the other London? Okay, let me go finish the book, okay? Okay. It's a little bit dim in here, but this is how I like it. All right, I'm setting the mood. About to finish A Conjuring of Light. Let's go for it. I have about 117 pages left, so let's just do it. B.E. Schwab's conclusion to the Shades of Magic trilogy, A Conjuring of Light. What can I say about this book? Let's start from the beginning, okay? Let's start with the trilogy. So, yes, I'm about to give away things about the trilogy and this book in particular. No, I don't have videos talking about the first two books because I read them before I started this channel. So, just here we are. So, A Darker Shade of Magic is the first book in the series. And I'm just going to read this blurb, like what it's about, from Amazon. So this is not a spoiler, but a tale of parallel Londons, magic and adventure, where a smuggler and a cut purse join forces to survive treacherous magic and stay alive. I think that's a pretty good synopsis there. I also liked, there's a popular highlight from people who read on Kindle, and it says, he could smell gray London, smoke, and white London, blood. But to him, red London simply smelled like home. So, if that doesn't give you fantasy cozy, what would, really, honestly? So the series, is about a magician. He's called an Antari. He's kind of one of the last of his kind, and he's also sort of part of the royal family. I don't really know. And over the course of the series, him and a cast of characters are kind of fighting off this big bad evil. And so this book was a really good wrap up. I have notes. From when I first finished reading it. I had to give it like a day or two to digest because I do think in general I may be a little too generous with my stars when I'm reading books. But I don't know. So I wanted it to marinate first so that I could really truly assess how I felt about this book. So as soon as I finished it, the first thing I wrote was, fuck. That is a combination of a couple of things. So one, I was very, very sad that the series was over. I've spent quite a bit of time with this cast of characters, and I've come to love and adore most of them. Some of them were a little bit whiny and like, I don't know about all that, but I do feel like they're like my friends. And so like now my besties are off on their own adventure somewhere, and like, I'm not going to see them again. I mean, I have them right here, but I'm not going to see them again. So that was my initial reaction to finishing. And I just said, I can't believe it's over. But good thing we get to see them in Threads of Magic. So throughout the series, they're facing this big bad, in the world. And it kind of ends up taking all of them to do so in the end, which should not be a surprise to anybody. This is like the Avengers, right? But there was a passage that I kind of had dog-eared in here, and I won't read it all, but it said, Kel had followed her, Lila had killed her, Holland had made her. And so that to me was just kind of like the, of the whole series, like, all right. Now, I will, there's a lot of reviews of this book, of this series, that say, oh, it's a letdown, I was expecting more. Yeah, so I mentioned before that I'm like a good times reader. So I'm not here to analyze the plot on a deep level. I'm not about to write a dissertation. This is not an advanced level English class. I want to read and have a good time with the people in the book, with everything that's going on, and the story in general. And I super enjoyed the story in general. I didn't really find anything that was too glaring. There are books where I'm like, this is not going to work. And these weren't any of them. V.E. Schwab can write a book, and I enjoy her writing style. And I enjoyed the world building in here. And so there's kind of the concept of four parallel worlds that are connected by the city of London. And I just thought that was such a good, cool concept. And like kind of like, oh, like is our world connected at any point to another world? I don't know. But I thought that was a neat concept, and I liked the way that she interwove the Londons with each other. And yeah, like the worlds are connected by these Londons, but here's how each of the worlds is impacted by the other worlds. And so the basic premise is that the Antari, the magician, he can travel. The Antari are the only ones that can travel between the worlds. And so our main character, Kel, he travels between the Londons, and he kind of creates a little bit of havoc. So, that's kind of like the premise of the series. So I thought that the world building was great. I liked it a lot. Did the character building suffer at the expense of the world building? Yes, I think so. But does it matter? No. Because does every book have to have everything in it? No. I think that the worlds were a huge focus of the book, and that was great. It was fantastic for me. So to all you naysayers. The story itself was good. Like, we went on a nice journey. I would personally love to see more of the story, and I have intentionally avoided reading the synopsis or the summary, the back of the book for the Threads of Magic, the continuation of the universe, because I didn't want to know if any of the characters were in it, if they were not in it, like intentionally. Like, what if it's like, oh, now that Kel's dead, blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to spoil this series like that for myself, so I've intentionally not read the back of that book. But I do think that we get to follow at least some of them in that book. I might be wrong. But if so, I'm very excited to see my besties again. But I am truly excited to dive back into the world of the 4 separate Londons. So, I thought that this book, A Conjuring of Light, thick though she may be, she's thicky thick. Like, look at that girl. I thought it was a really cozy wrap up to the series. I thought it was really well done, and I did get a little misty-eyed towards the end. I would say the last maybe 10% of the book, I was getting really emotional, There were some clips that I think I inserted already of me reading through it and having a moment. It took me places. That's what I can say, is it took me places. So this book did give me one moment of, are you serious? So there is a little bit of backstory. Kel, the Antari, he was adopted under scrupulous circumstances by the royal family in the kingdom in Red London. So Kel has a opportunity to learn where he came from, who his parents were, and how he ended up with the royal family. Did he take the opportunity? Mm-mm. So now we don't know. And I'm kind of annoyed that we don't know. I really would like to know. Similarly to how I intentionally avoided reading the synopsis of the other book, I haven't looked at, there's a lot of comic books and things that kind of go along with this series, I believe, that kind of look at other parts of the story. I know that there's specifically one that looks at the king and his life before this book started, before this series started. And so I haven't looked at any of that. So perchance, we can find out in some of that auxiliary material where Kel came from, what his origin is, and what his name means. So apparently when he showed up at the palace, he had something that had the letters KL on them, and that's how his name became Kel. So we don't know what his name is. We don't know where he came from. And I'm a little bit annoyed about that. I get it for his character. That was the emotional journey he went on. But I need to know. Sabrina would like to know where Kel came from. Girl, can you just DM me, and let me know? Okay, that was really my only major gripe with the book. And I mean, it was a choice that the author made, not necessarily a flaw in the story, but it's a choice that I particularly did not like. So overall, this book, I give this book 5 stars. The series, I'm going to give 4.5 stars. And I think the most important question I can answer is, would I trophy it? Well, I already own it, but yes, I would. If I'd read it on Kindle, would I trophy these books? Yes, I would. If they come out with an exclusive, edition with sprayed edges, would I buy it and put it on my shelf? Yes, I would. And I would let these be free to a good home. Actually, one of my friends has the first book in the series, so if she likes it, I would totally give her these copies and get the sprayed edge copies. So, if I'm willing to trophy it, I think that's a good sign. So yeah, highly recommend.